Well, let's talk about it.
I recently tried to get out of the porno business, or release my own exercise video, phoning up with Cherry Pup. But the people I made the pornos for didn't like it. They said, stop making these tapes.
The Vice Academy series was a staple of USA Up All Night, and a lot of the folks who are in the kind of Vinegar Syndrome audience fondly remember that period in television history. It's a big soft spot for a lot of people, and has fueled a lot of passion. USA Up All Night was canceled in 1998. I was 8 years old. I have no nostalgia for these movies whatsoever, and oh boy. So I guess let's look at the bright side first. This is, of course, a VSA release. In theory, this is coming out before the sale actually starts, and they have a couple of these left in stock. On the plus side of things, those are going to sell out no matter what. So I'm not actually helping anyone who profits off of this. So that's good. If anything, I'm hurting eBay scalpers, because in theory, people who have similar opinions to mine won't buy this from them. So really, I'm doing a service by talking about this movie in the negative and earning all the dislikes in the world. Okay, let me bring it back. Positives. This being a VSA release, you get this nice hard case. You get a little Linnea Quigley and a little Ginger Lynn action, and so that's good. You learn that it has the first 3 Vice Academy movies out of somehow 6. And then inside you get pretty standard issue Blu-ray. My one problem, by the way, with the VSA releases is, so sometimes the slipcover, which by the way you do get a reversible, which is just the same as the VSA release. So sometimes the art can stick out a little bit, and when you're putting the hard shell back on, it can kind of catch a bit, which you can kind of see right there. It's kind of catching a little bit, and that can inadvertently rip into the material, which it's already done that on mine already. So that's kind of frustrating. You have to be very careful putting this back in, which is a little annoying. I would rather that not be the case. You also get a poster, so if you're really into this movie, then you know what? You can certainly feel free, Jesus Christ, to hang this up if you want. You can certainly do that, pal. That is up to you, man. You can hang that on your wall and be proud of your love for Vice Academy. Of course, you get your 2 discs. They same artwork is recycled throughout the entire release. I like the artwork. It's, I like this box. It's good. It's a good box. Oh, I don't want to talk about these. Okay, so let me just get this out. I was extremely bored by these movies. I don't get it. I mean, I understand the nostalgia factor. I understand that if you were like 11 years old when this came out, then you know what? You probably really enjoyed it. It's full of titties. Not as many titties as I would have thought, but it is full of titties. A lot of dumb jokes, a lot of bright colors. It has what you're looking for as a preteen. So awesome. That's really about it. I guess if you're a really big Linnea Quigley fan or a really big Ginger Lynn fan, then there's also that. But that's reaching, because I think Ginger Lynn is very talented. She's actually really good in these movies. She's one of the bright spots, and I really love Linnea Quigley. I don't think she is an amazing actor, but I do think that she has a certain gravitas to her that no one else has. It helps that she has that kind of husky voice and a very specific look to her. I think that she is a really fun actor to watch.
I'll do anything to get this job.
She does not have amazing comedic timing. And I hate to say that because I saw plenty of reviews that said that her timing is great. I completely disagree. I think that she is not good at comedy, at least not in this context. It's weird because like in Return of the Living Dead, she's phenomenal. I laugh at basically everything she says, but I think that is a case of the director knowing what he needs to get out of this actor and utilizing her strengths while downplaying her weaknesses. And that's important for a director to do. I don't think that Rick Sloane, known for Hobgoblins, knew how to do that. I just don't. I don't hate Rick Sloane movies per se. I think Hobgoblins is a lot of fun. I have not made it through Blood Theater yet. I tried, and I was high. I want to point that out. I was high when I tried to watch Blood Theater, and I couldn't make it. I was not high while watching these. I feel like I should have been, because I might have enjoyed them a bit more. But as it stands, quite frankly, these are my least favorite movies I've seen in the Vinegar Syndrome catalog. I don't like them. You know, with something like fellow VSA release Hellriders, there is that kind of like goofy charm to it that it's so bad and so incompetent at times that it transcends into fun in moments. Specifically like the Adam West stunt double stuff is a lot of fun just because of how outrageously obvious it is. There's not really anything like that in Vice Academy. It's really just failed comedy, and there's nothing less interesting to me than failed comedy. It's just, it's the worst. It's the absolute goddamn worst. When you have a horror comedy that fails, that's a little different. That can be a little bit of fun. I just can't get behind failed comedy. I can't. You know, you get like, there's this bestiality gag early on with Mrs. Devonshire.
We're going to try and shut down a Mexican donkey show.
There goes my weekend.
The initial joke is fine, but then it gets beaten to death over the course of 2 more jokes.
Is there anything you wouldn't consider doing in a film?
Well, I don't do any animal acts.
Really? It says here that you've done quite a few in your picture. If I could talk to the animals, looks like you made it with half the zoo.
Animal acts? Who gave her that resume?
Miss Devonshire gave it to her.
It's just not funny. It's not funny. And then there's other perfectly good jokes that are set up and never capitalized on.
Hey, Chucky, since you're here, why don't you read a scene with Dee?
Yeah, how about it?
I don't know. I've got a full schedule today. I've got an appointment at my tanning salon, and then there's my facial.
Why don't you make time?
It's a facial gag in a...
We're going to give that some serious thought, and when we think of what we can do, you'll be the first to know.
It's almost like Sloane was trying for Airplane by way of Police Academy, but he didn't have the budget or the comedic talent, and it just turns into a flat mess. And you know, I get it. Leslie Nielsen, for example, was not a comedic actor when he signed up for Airplane, but Airplane was also made by a comedic genius. Rick Sloane is not a comedic genius. Rick Sloane needs comedians in his cast to make a comedic film, and he did not have those. And so what you end up with is a movie that's just kind of a flat mess. The comedy reminds me of my high school news show, which, by the way, their big thing was they made a parody of Soulja Boy. And it was just them singing Soulja Boy. But they were in the high school parking lot. And it made some obscure reference to like some high school stuff, but it was just Soulja Boy. That's what I'm talking about here. It feels like watching a bunch of high schoolers make a movie, which is so frustrating because it's so obvious that Rick Sloane put a lot of work into these movies physically. From a technical standpoint, you know, there's some really great lighting that adds a lot to the scenes. That's a kind of a Rick Sloane staple. He's very good at getting the most out of his money, but he's not using a lot of money. Anyway, I haven't talked about the plot at all. So it's basically just there are these trainees at the Vice Academy. One is played by Ginger Lynn, another played by Linnea Quigley. Then we have Karen Russell, who is probably the best actor of the bunch. She and Linnea Quigley kind of are really the main characters, even though Ginger Lynn is like, you know, billed pretty high. Ginger Lynn is barely in the first movie, which is not great because she's, you know, easily the second best actor of the bunch. Anyway, they wind up finding this random porn star who's been beaten up and threatened, and so they get on this case and they expose a porn ring, and then they wind up dealing with a major crime boss, and it's so boring. Oh my god, I wanted to fall asleep so bad. But I couldn't because I had 2 more fucking movies to watch.
I wish you'd degrade her more.
In Vice Academy 2, we nix Karen Russell. We get Ginger Lynn and Linnea Quigley teaming up to tackle more of a supervillain type character in the form of Spanish Fly, who is threatening to poison the water supply of the United States. Or, you know, I guess she's going to do that. All I really ever get is that she has a map that she made, but whatever. And, you know, it has one of the hick rapists from Pulp Fiction in it, so there's that. It's a step up in production from the first film, but I wouldn't say that it's particularly good or anything. It's just slightly better. It is a film with a character called Bimbo Cop.
And who is this?
This is Myron. He is the creator of Bimbo Cop.
Which, yes, is a joke on RoboCop. It's very clever. It manages to fuck up Bimbo Cop. That's how that's how bad this film is. It fucks up a character called Bimbo Cop.
Please report at once. Thank you.
There's some cute ideas, like whenever she moves her head, it has like a very like squeaky metallic sound. And that's humorous, but you need more than that. And it's just not more than that. It's all very, we got to make this for USA, and we got to knock it out real fast and real cheap. I don't know, man. I just can't. I can't. So Vice Academy 3. Vice Academy 3, I barely remember the plot, even though it's the one I've seen most recently. I literally watched it today, and I barely remember the plot. It has this villain, Malathion, who is basically like someone who has a evil plan. It doesn't matter. The plot doesn't matter. None of it's all meaningless. It's just Rick Sloane making another episode in his Vice Academy series for USA Up All Night. That's all it is. It's just a somewhat it's a way to make money, and that there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money, obviously, but it never feels like he's doing anything more. That said, Vice Academy 3 I think is my favorite of the bunch. It has the highest production values. I know it was the biggest budgeted, so that makes sense. And you know what? Props to Rick. He uses every penny, he puts it on screen. He could have used that money to hire better actors or maybe another writer, but he didn't do that. So what we get is a pretty overall good-looking movie that still sucks ass. So there you are.
Well, Miss Devonshire, you must be awfully proud of the fact that one of your prize students, Dee Dee, has graduated from the Academy with honors. Now she's been promoted up the force, out of the Academy, out of basic training.
Linnea Quigley left after the second film, and she is replaced by Elizabeth Caden of Friday the 13th Part 7 fame, and she plays Dee Dee's sister, Candy. She's pretty okay in the role. She's not bad, but there's sort of a charm to Linnea Quigley that has nothing to do with acting skills that she really just can't mimic properly. And so while she does have a certain Linnea Quigley vibe, it just feels like a cheap knockoff of Linnea Quigley, which amounts to very little. And my understanding is that she's in the rest of the series. I don't give a shit. You know, she's fine. We do get porn star Julia Parton in the role of Malathion, who's sort of like the Joker, I guess. There's another direct reference to pop culture, which is cool, I guess.
Wait till they get a load of me now.
She's easily the best villain of the bunch. She's the most out there and weird. She is entertaining. She's actually, for being honest, she is legitimately pretty entertaining in scenes, and she does a good job as the villain, but she's underserved by literally everything around her. Mrs. Devonshire, who is the Vice Academy teacher. In the first two films, she's played by Jane Hamill, and in this film, she's replaced by Jordana Capra. And I much prefer Capra in the role. I think that she's a little bit more subtle. She doesn't grind on my nerves like Jane Hamill did. And I would say she has a few funny moments. And there's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there's a few actual funny moments in Vice Academy 3 that help it stand apart from Vice Academy 1 and 2. There's this one bit with some of the girls getting actual food and the others just having to fight over bread and a water hose. That's funny. That's funny, Rick. Good job. But overall, the humor's more or less the same. It's another Rick Sloane vehicle. I also liked Cliff Corder as the police chief. I think that he is probably the one with the most understanding of what he is in while also maintaining a certain level of professionalism. I think that he is specifically going for this very campy vibe that I feel like a lot of people associate with this franchise, but I don't see it on screen. I don't see this as really camp. I don't see this as good because people know what they're in. It's actually worse because people know what they're in, because they're putting in shitty performances and not going as over the top as they should be. For the most part. Obviously, again, Julia Parton does a really good job, but I don't even, like, I hate talking about movies in the negative. I really do. I really don't like being mean about movies, and I think you could probably tell by most of my videos, I don't like saying bad shit about movies, especially low-budget movies. It makes me feel even worse. You know, if you look at my video for Veronica, even there, I'm pretty nice about it. You know, I still shit on the movie a little bit, but I point out that it has a lot of good qualities and that it's entertaining. With Vice Academy, I wasn't entertained. I just wasn't. I was just bored. I was just waiting for them to be over, and they're not for me. That's another thing. I love cheesy movies. I love B, C, Z-list films. I think that's pretty obvious. And I love a lot of the movies from Vinegar Syndrome that are equally bare minimum. I just made a review where I praised the fuck out of Night Train to Terror, which is not a very good film, but is very entertaining. And I don't know, tits and bad comedy that doesn't work don't really do it for me. That's the long and short of it.
Damn it, what happened? I don't know, but that robot's sure upset about something.
Now, the transfers on these films are stellar, of course. There's a few blotchy moments in the first film, but it's very, very small. And overall, they look beautiful. They honestly look better than any Rick Sloane movie has any right to look. Like, it's kind of funny. He made movies that look really great with like really beautiful saturated transfers, because he used a lot of these very saturated gels in his lighting, which is really just a cheap way to make an image pop. And you know what? Good job. These are really good looking movies, especially part 3. It looks fantastic. So anyway, as far as extras go, this is 2 discs. First disc has the first movie and all of the additional extras, and the second disc has the latter 2 films. All 3 films come with commentary. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch them in their entirety with commentary. I didn't feel like going through this more. I wanted to just be done with these movies and move along. In fact, the only reason I'm doing this review is because there's gonna be some for sale when this video goes out tomorrow, and I wanted to have something out there just for anyone who is thinking about trying to nab those last remaining Vice Academies at midnight. You could, make your decision based on my review. So I didn't listen in full to the commentaries. I listened to about 15 to 20 minutes from each film. I kind of just skipped through a bunch. And all 3 of them are Rick Sloane, writer, director, producer Rick Sloane. And he does fine. He's okay. I really appreciate that he has so much passion for these films. I really appreciate all the little details about how they stole locations, and how they made like the prison set in part 3 work by just taking one of the doors off its hinges and shooting the scene from the other angle to make it seem like they had 2 walls of cells. A lot of fun things like that, but he also spends a lot of time just kind of pausing and I guess watching the movie, which doesn't do much for us. But it is 3 movies worth of commentary, so at the end of the day, I think that if you're looking for a commentary that really highlights what it's like to make a super, super, super low budget movie, then there's that. And if you really like Rick Sloane, there's also that. My understanding is that his commentaries for some of the other films are really, really great. I'm assuming this is a slight downgrade, or else I just am broken and don't know what joy is anymore. Either which way, I came out of the commentaries appreciating his hustle, and so I'll give him that. He has great hustle, and of course, I do like Hobgoblins. I have not watched Visitants yet, and I have not finished Blood Theater. I don't think I'm going to enjoy Blood Theater once I finish it, because I did not enjoy the first, 30 minutes, but we'll see. As far as other extras, we get 2 interviews. One with Ginger Lynn, which lasts a little over 30 minutes. We also get an interview with Linnea Quigley that lasts 17 minutes. The Ginger Lynn interview, just by virtue of time, is much more informative. I really enjoyed her talking about how working in porn kind of got her ready for these very quick indie shoots. You get a lot of stuff. I mean, just in the first 15 minutes, she talks about that. She talks about finding a lover on the set of Vice Academy 2. She talks about working with Rick Sloane. It's a very comprehensive interview. So that's probably the highlight of the whole set for me, is that Ginger Lynn interview. The Linnea Quigley interview is not quite as informative. I mean, that's just a byproduct of it being much shorter. Still, if you're a fan and you like Linnea Quigley, it's a good interview. It's just, you get a perspective on stuff. That's all you can ask for. And yeah, that's Vice Academy. I wanted to like this. I thought I would. I should have. I like dumb police comedies. I like cheesiness. I like low budget. I like Linnea Quigley. I like Ginger Lynn. There's so many things here that I should enjoy as a whole, but it just falls apart for me. If you've watched any clips in this video and you thought, hey, that's pretty funny, or you're a fan of these movies from back in the day and you somehow haven't gotten this disc yet, then it's for you. And that's awesome. If you're like me and you like your comedy to work and not just be good because of nostalgia and titties, then it's a no-go. This is my least favorite in my collection by a country mile now, and that's too bad. This is a bummer. I don't like saying bad things about movies.
Listen, Dirk, this chemistry stuff is for kids. Let's get down to some real experimenting.
So anyway, that's it. Buy it if you want to. Don't buy it if you think it doesn't look like it's for you. I'm gonna go and find something for next week that I enjoy, because this is a gross feeling and I don't like it. So until next time, if you haven't already disliked, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, comment below with your feelings on Vice Academy. Let me know what you felt about it. I don't have a double feature for you because this is 3 fucking movies, and that's enough. After watching these, go and pass out and pretend they don't exist anymore. Don't forget to find me on Patreon if you haven't already. I like your patronage, and let's enjoy this sale. Go watch a movie, I guess. Preferably not these.